Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton King. We're doing Steve Dye. Why are you doing Steve Dye?
Why are we doing that one, Kev? We didn't say we were going to do that one last week.
We didn't say that, did we? No. I said please don't suggest any albums, so people made lots of suggestions for albums next time.
Someone come up with a good one.
Yeah, this one. There you go. So, actually, originally I said Passion and Warfare, and somehow I forgot this. Or so, I don't know. It seems really obvious that we should do this one, but we are doing this one. FlexAble. You spelled FlexAble wrong. No. FlexAble. FlexAble. Yeah, but you spelled FlexAble wrong. No. No. FlexAble. Yeah, but you still spelled it wrong. No. FlexAble. No. Listen. Okay. So, probably seems a bit different to his other albums. Well, it is seems you wouldn't call this metal at all. It's more prog. My argument is it's not really true. It's just production. It's just the way it's presented is louder. And I think actually stylistically it's all established here. The Steve Vai solo sound is here in 1984. Album number 2 in 1990. After stuff. So you know. It's got singing on, but most of his albums have singing on. There's only a couple of instrumental albums, actually, if you're honest. What I'm going to do is this movie called Hardcore.
Turn it off. Turn it off!
Like this. So we're going to cut to that clip. And I'm going to put this speaking in. And yeah, there's a lot of ideas on here which became fully formed later, and the FlexAble leftover stuff, a lot of that was used later as well, so you know. It's a guitars album, though, obviously. Variety of styles, that's the idea of flex is the variety and able is the proggy guitar stuff, but I don't think that's completely true. There's a bit of this. I'm a big fan of Steve Vai, fantastic tone. He really understands what a guitar is for, what the electric guitar is, what's good about it for me, you know. And obviously his utter dedication to getting it right means he's in complete control of that tone. It's all about the tone and how you sound the notes. That's what it is, you know. It's not just about guitar. I say it's a guitar album, but there's fun songs on here and stuff as well. There's all sorts of stuff. And I like the sense of fun, so you know.
Okay, I mean, I've listened to a bit of Steve Vai, I've seen a bit of his live stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect this at all, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you say this is a guitars album, but is it? I mean, there's so much stuff going on. It does sound very Zappa-esque in the sense of the amount of different instruments on there.
Changes
and yeah, and all the kind of crazy stuff. And it sounds interesting. And interesting enough to be engaging. The problem with interesting music, it can be a little bit like, you're not emoting with the music sort of thing. You're sort of analysing it, criticising it, but you're not actually getting into the music.
Yeah.
But this is good. Well, this is good enough to actually, you know, make that work. Which kind of surprised me really, because I did think it was just going to be lots of guitar, you know, stellar guitar stuff. Because he's obviously got the reputation. Bill Hicks did a joke about Steve Vai, which you took exception to.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because he says that Steve Vai and all these modern guitarists don't play from the heart. He's going about. Yeah, and you've quoted it over the years, probably not realising you're quoting Bill Hicks.
I'm going to do it again in a bit.
It does feel a little bit emotionless, I have to say, even though you're going to say that's crazy, Steve Vai does play with lots of heart and stuff like that, but it's because it's so complicated, you know?
It's harder to engage with.
Yeah, and it's proggy, yeah, and it's not at the extreme end of prog, but it's at a very, it's like technical prog, yeah? There's sort of lots of fast things going on, lots of different things going on, and it's all, the timing is crucial to it all, which obviously he's picked up from Frank Zappa, but that takes it away from the emotionful end of music to more of a sort of
but that's
a technical.
If you're not getting the emotion out of it because you're not able to engage with it, means that it's music that's difficult to engage with, which is a criticism. That's a valid criticism, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But saying he's not playing the feeling, it's him, it's his fault. Isn't it? It doesn't make any sense. My thing about it really is it's fun. It's the sense of fun, and obviously the composition he's taken a big thing from Zappa, and that's there right the way through. That's what as we do the albums, that's what I'm going to be saying really, is that still the same notes. You know, it's produced with the guitar going, bah! Whereas this, the guitar is sometimes jangly, and you know, and yet Call It Sleep, which is a strange one. The playing on that is Steve Vai tone wild stuff, as everyone knows. You know, the Attitude song, he always plays that in every concert. And the sound effect, you know, the Little Green Men sound effect, the Munchkins, he's used that right the way through. I don't know if he still does, but certainly Ultrazone has that on it as well, you know, and he uses it live and all that, which I'll talk about in a bit. I think the difference, he hasn't quite decided who he is yet. And, you know, and in hindsight, we can look at it and think, yeah, it sounds like Steve Vai. I think it does. But he's come from Zappa, and that he's taking something from there and doing his thing with the guitar. And he hasn't, you know, he wrote this in his shed. And it does show that he's written it in his shed, because the production is in a cupboard. Sounds like it's recorded in a cupboard type production, isn't it? Which isn't necessarily bad, because, you know, if you don't want something really in your face, it's nice that it's not so, brrr, you know, which a lot of Vai stuff is. When I saw him in concert in '99, was the first time I saw him in concert. I saw him in 1999, 2001, and then missed every tour, every bloody year, every year for that since then. He played in the autumn, and we missed him. Not the autumn, in the spring, and we missed him. But the great bit when he does, complaining about, it's just an audience of guitar players and all the girls there. It's just the girlfriends of the guitar players. Oh, yeah, that's right. Bugger.
Was it complained about that generally with prog? Was it, what's his face from Yes?
Yeah, because Bill Bruford.
What was it, Bill Bruford?
Yeah, but yeah, the thing about the 90125 era is there's girls in the audience, wow, and they're not just the girlfriends of the proggers. But my girlfriend who was there, yes, and I'm a guitarist, yes, but she was converted on the spot, actually. So, you see. And also bought the album of the support guy, Eric Sardinas, who's this sort of turbocharged slide blues stuff. But he did this whole spiel about that, and then he did the Silly Aliens voice as well. It's on here, the Munchkins sound. And in every tour, he would make fun of the sort of flavour of the month pop stars. Iron Maiden used to do that in the 80s as well. There's a video where Bruce Dickinson's talking about Rick Astley, and it's weird that you think, oh yeah, that's how old this is. You know, obviously the Maiden stuff is Iron Maiden, but that old stuff. I mean, the only reason people know who Ricky Astley is still is because he's a meme, isn't he, of terribleness. That's why he's a meme, because he's terrible. You know, or Chisney Hawks or something. You know? He did this silly alien voice of the girlfriend saying, I don't want to see Steve Vai, I want to see Ricky Martin. So that was quite funny. I think on the DVD in 2001 he made fun of Britney Spears, which I think was showing his age actually, because I don't think Britney Spears was current in 2000. I don't know.
She's still current now, Kim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is she? Does she still have music? I don't know. Yeah, so they say, who the fuck is Steve Vai? Oh, you mean the shred guitarist from the 80s? Is he a shred guitarist, mate? Maybe he's a shred guitarist, I don't really know. It depends what that means, doesn't it? But, you know, probably he was in Whitesnake, wasn't he? I saw him on MTV in Whitesnake, and he plays poodle rock like Van Halen, doesn't he? Wrong. That's not the case. Not really, that's not quite what he is. He did make a lot of money and got famous. He replaced Yngwie in Alcatraz, playing Since You've Been Gone. He was in David Lee Roth's band, okay, yeah. I don't really know anything about that though. And he was in Whitesnake. He was asked to do Whitesnake because David Coverdale had fallen out with the guitarist again. And the new guy supposedly had RSI, so he had to get someone in quick, someone very capable. And that got his name about and got him lots of money, which enabled him to kickstart his solo career properly. Because remember, there's a gap between this. This is 84. Next one is 1990. But that actually gave him. I'm sure now that's an albatross, you know, because he's actually got an image problem in that people don't think he's not quite what they think he is. And once people have got that in their heads, it's very difficult to persuade them. If you play them something and say, well, that's Steve Vai, and they say, that's Steve Vai. He's not normally like that. Normally, he sounds like Poison. You know, no he doesn't. But, you know, Whitesnake fans hate him. Coverdale admits he was wrong for Whitesnake. You know, he's a master musician, not a boring widdly guitarist. You know, he arranged and produced the record and all that. And the story goes, you know, Glenn Hughes was brought in to do some backing vocals on a horrible 80s version of Fall For Your Loving. and he did all these amazing, Glenn Hughes is like one of the best rock singers of all time, and so he did all these harmonies, amazing, and Steve pointed out, it's in the wrong mode, doesn't fit, and they just looked at him blank, like, what are you talking about? This has got to sound. So he doesn't, he was nearly on the Black Album in one sense, but that's not really him at all. He's the master of controlling the sustain on the guitar, and how he sounds each note is important. Weirdly, 80s guitarists don't do that. That's why they're boring. They just practice the same technique that the teacher told them to do by sounding the notes very quickly and accurately. And there's more to it than that. That's why they're boring, and he's not doing that. Think Jeff Beck. Probably his biggest influence is Jeff Beck, actually, and he will say this, blow by blow, And, importantly, for those in the know, like you said, he's Frank Zappa's ex-guitarist. That's what he is. And his compositional style, it's simpler than Zappa, much more accessible than Zappa, but that's definitely there. I mean, we've even got Tommy Mars and Chad Wackerman on this album, actually.
Yeah.
And one of the bonus tracks on the FlexAble Leftovers really does sound like a Zappa track because you've got Tommy Mars doing his thing. This is a great album to demonstrate why that is wrong, because it doesn't have big noisy guitar production, and there's all sorts of stuff on there. It's diverse. The flex, the idea, it's this weird song, and there's even a pop song, and and it comes down to the melodies really. There's great tunes on here. That's what it, cool rhythms, cool melodies, and that's why it's good. And it opens with one of the silliest songs as well, Little Green Men. One of the themes in Little Green Men actually is the Close Encounters tune. So I don't know how we got away with that. It's 5 notes. Can you get away with that? I don't know, and it's not credited. It's interesting how he credits things actually. I assume the music just says written by Steve Vai. It doesn't say on the back anyway. But he lists all the musicians on each track, which is good, I think. Because obviously this is something made in his shed in his free time. So probably isn't really a consistent album, you could argue, because it's loads of different stuff.
Yeah.
And the Attitude song is really found as Steve Vai song. He plays it in every concert at the end. It's great. Well, it was his signature song, I suppose, apart from For the Love of God. That's the one. He does always play. I had to say, Leftovers I haven't listened to for a while, but I listened to the bonus tracks here, which is 4 tracks from FlexAble Leftovers. I think it may have been the original EP. I think I actually prefer the Leftovers to the main stuff. It's more Zappa-y, it's more proggy. That might be why he's left it off, because it's less commercial, or maybe because it sounds too much like Zappa, maybe, I don't know. But I found I'd rather he did more progginess, obviously, than what he does. So in that sense, this is a good one.
Yeah. Good album.
It's a good album. That's the one to convert people, I think, because if you think, he hates him, he's so unfair, why can he do that and I can't? This is the one to the fun and it's everything's in there without it being in your face, because of the production, I think.
Yeah.
So, okay, that wasn't really a review, that was me talking about the 80s, but never mind.
Yeah.
I can't egg it, so we need to have a discussion about eggs.
I mean, what is the basis for a 6-egg album? I suppose a 6-egg album has got to bring everything together. It's got to have technical mastery, excellent production, and it's got to be emotionally engaging.
Yeah.
And original.
And you've got to be overwhelmed by how great it is, which we're not. So it's not 6 eggs. A 5-egg album's got to be a really good album that's consistent, or mostly consistent, and has a structure and has an albumness. So does that mean it's not a 5-egg album?
But it feels unfair to give it 4 eggs because...
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's different because Steve Vai is a different sort of type of character, basically.
Yeah.
So, we mentioned Bill Bruford here. He's a very similar sort of character in the sense that his reputation comes from the mastery of the instrument.
Yeah.
But here we are, we're talking about a creative piece of work,
Yeah.
which is sort of going over to a different camp sort of thing, which Bill Bruford actually did with UK and Bruford and stuff like that.
And with Bill Bruford, his mastery of the instrument technically is exaggerated actually. His greatness comes from his creativity and his originality and all that stuff actually. Whereas Steve Vai has both. And I think that's the problem, people don't like that. It's threatened, they're threatened by it. That's what it is.
Well, it kind of breaks the paradigm, doesn't it? Or
whatever you want to call it, because I mean, Bruford came up with you either have creative people or you have like musicians, and their approach to music is completely different. And he considered himself a creative,
Yeah.
Which kind of ran against my sort of the way I perceived him, because I would consider his music in a similar vein to this. I would look at it as, how is this musician gone about engaging with a creative process to come up with something original? And
Yeah.
so on that score, it is, you could say it's original, but there is definitely you can hear the Frank Zappa sort of thing, because obviously Steve Vai was very young when he went
Yeah, it was
to
not
work
19 or
with
something.
Frank Zappa. So at those crucial years he's working with Zappa, which gives him sort of that approach to music. So where does it become original from Zappa? There's humour in there, but there's lots of humour in Zappa's work. So is it original? It's only original in the sense that there's only one Frank Zappa, so there's not.
Yeah, and this sounds like Steve Vai.
Yeah.
But I mean, lots of Zappa stuff with guitar, but obviously Zappa's technique is completely different to Vai's technique.
Yeah. I think it's a 5-egg album, Kev. It just feels completely wrong to give it 4 eggs.
It does, yeah.
I think we should go with our gut on that one.
5 eggs. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 5 eggs. It's a great album.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to remember. I mean, he's the only one. He's the only musician that Zappa only had complete respect for. You didn't hear Zappa going on about how great his players were. He slags them off.
But I mean, that's a bit of a millstone in effect, isn't it? Because you constantly, when you're listening to Steve Vai, you're trying to hear what Zappa heard.
Yeah.
What is it that Zappa picked up on that makes this guy so special?
Yeah, and I mean, actually, in the Zappa band, really, it's about repeating what he wants you to play exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't change it. So actually, the creativity part only comes in there.
Yeah.
Actually, so yeah, 5 eggs. There we go. Back next week for Passion and Warfare.
Yeah.
It'll sound like Steve Vai, like you know. See it?